A netizen named Tony Chu commented, I am a Taiwanese businessman. I know based on personal experience that even ordinary people doing business in China are still often suppressed by the Chinese government. Amid this pandemic, I reflected deeply and decided that I would rather give up all business opportunities in China forever. I must safeguard my dignity. I support Trump. I sincerely oppose the communist dictatorship. I also believe that Trump is the choice of the divine. The world will be back on track when the Communist Party is no longer in existence. Someone shared that in Michigan, a large number of people gathered.
We love you! We love you! We love you! We love you! We won't stop! We won't stop! We won't stop! It's got your back! NAGA's got your back! NAGA's got your back!
Someone shared that in Arizona, there are also people who came out to support Trump. Someone shared another video showing Trump supporters gathering at a vote counting site. And someone shared another video showing similar scenes of large gatherings of Trump supporters. Although there have been pro-Trump demonstrations in various places across the country, none of the big three television networks in the US reported on them. Only local small TV stations did. Although the vote counting has not been finalized, the New York Times Chinese website has published an article saying that Biden won and the US election is finally settled. Leaders of England, Germany, Italy, Ireland, France, the European Union, Canada, India, Japan, Iraq, UAE, NATO, and other countries and organizations all congratulated Biden and Harris. And so far, China, Russia, and Saudi Arabia have not sent congratulatory messages. And neither did the president of Mexico. Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen also congratulated Biden. Someone said, it's not even necessary for Beijing to send a congratulatory message. Its new flag design had already been finalized. This is the CCP's new North American flag. Someone shared this picture. Biden and Harris came to Xi Jinping while holding the sign with the words Chinese Communist Party Committee in the US. Although the CCP has not officially sent a congratulatory message to Biden, People's Daily quoted Trump's previous tweet and mocked him. Someone said the CCP interfered in Hong Kong's elections in September. Now it has extended its claws to the US presidential elections. I hope that Trump can officially designate the CCP as a transnational criminal organization. Someone shared that Biden announced a few policies pertaining to climate change and immigration that he will change upon taking office. First, immediately rejoin the Paris Climate Accords. Second, swiftly reverse Trump's withdrawal from the World Health Organization. Third, repeal the travel ban that includes many Muslim countries. Fourth, reinstate the Dreamers program. Someone said Biden truly took into consideration the global ramifications before announcing his decisions. Rejoin the World Health Organization to get support from the African nations. Repeal the travel ban that includes many Muslim countries to get support from the Middle East. And reinstating the Dreamers program to get support from South America. Someone mocked, Biden doesn't need the votes of the American people at all. He can elect himself through cheating. Someone added, Biden will also lift the trade tariffs on China that Trump imposed, as well as sanctions on the state-affiliated companies such as Huawei. Someone also added, don't forget, he may also lift the sanctions of senior CCP officials in the Xinjiang region, as well as Hong Kong. Someone commented, in the future, it is possible that the American working people will not only need to feed themselves, but also illegal immigrants. And because of affirmative action, children of Asian immigrants may also become third-class citizens. Some children will receive priority when being considered for college admissions. When many Trump supporters, including a large number of Chinese dissidents, are feeling anxious, Trump appears to be very relaxed.
Oh my god.
Another Chinese dissident commented on the Chinese version of yesterday's episode and said, "I identify myself as a solid anti-communist, but I do not agree with a blind view that some Chinese dissidents hold, which is supporting Trump means resisting the CCP." In addition, the Trump administration's inefficient response to the pandemic and the Black Lives Matter riots that have been taking place all across the country, coupled with the isolationist policies that Trump has been adopting, which led to the decline of U.S. influence in international politics, among other domestic and foreign policy failures, may be the reasons that Trump will lose this election. Someone replied, "In essence, democracy means freedom, and freedom means responsibility. I think each of us should do our part instead of pushing all the responsibilities to Trump in the fight for freedom." Regarding the note that Trump responded inefficiently to the pandemic and the BLM riots, it's important to mention the nature of America's political system. The federal government was designed to manage external or foreign affairs, while its ability to manage domestic affairs is comparatively weak. With the development of history in the later period, the power of the federal government was gradually expanded, while power of the subnational, primarily state governments, was constantly adjusted. But in fact, each state still had strong autonomy, because state officials are still directly elected by the people and are responsible for state affairs. In the response to the riots, Trump's power was very limited. There wasn't much that he could do other than what he once said, such as decreasing federal financial support or sending out the National Guard. And clearly, in most cases, Trump was merely talking but didn't take real action. His response to the pandemic has also been interfered with by various factors, including Democrats. All these make it clear that Trump's ability to restrict states is actually very limited. State governments should be held accountable for their responses to the pandemic, as well as the BLM riots that have been taking place all across the country and in their regions, as they shoulder a greater responsibility. Regarding Trump following isolationism in his foreign policy making, I would say that isolationism is actually in line with conservatives' view. The foundation of American society is families. On this basis, like-minded people form a community, then a state. If there is no diplomatic requirement, perhaps the federal government would not have been established if it weren't for the need of managing external affairs. People often talk about the American dream. Why can this dream be realized in America? Because in America, innovation and entrepreneurship are particularly valued. Being overly involved in international affairs is actually in line with Beijing's economic assistance policies. In fact, Clinton, Bush Jr., and Obama all follow policies that are similar to Beijing's. It can be said that their approach was the same as that of the CCP, because they all hoped to establish a future world government. The CCP made it very clear that it wants the red flag to spread all over the world. From this perspective, Trump's isolationist policies may include withdrawing troops overseas and from some international organizations. But by doing so, he is leading America back to the path of traditions. Only when every individual, state, and region of the world assumes their own responsibilities will there be true freedom for all. But due to the current state of world affairs, as they have been so deeply infiltrated by communism, Trump has met various setbacks and challenges. Therefore, under such circumstances, each of us who chooses to believe in universal values should take the initiative to take on our own responsibilities, which may help relieve the pressure that Trump faces.
Child, we will bring you home. You'll be a flower that sees the spring. Soon a dove flying high.